And hello and welcome to Agile World. Sabrina and Karl. We are
Hello.
slightly calmer today. Why are we calmer?
Resignation that the work that we have to do will get done, regardless of the fact we're using time machines to get it done.
I was just thinking the fact that I was just so grateful that Meetup fixed itself. Well, I thought you fixed it.
Yeah, it's nice to get these things. Oh, have you fixed it? And I just sent a message saying fixed what, which kind of gave it away that I hadn't done it. And then I tried to cover up the fact and say, yeah, of course I did. At which point I was busted because I clearly hadn't done anything.
I nearly believed. I instantly thought when the so if you haven't heard yesterday's, you've got to hear it because or haven't seen yesterday's Agile World. Mainly me was nearly in tears because our big event on the 28th, which is our Festa
Forever.
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 Viva forever. Had disappeared from the meetup calendar, but it still existed, but you couldn't see it when you looked through the image list. So obviously I was panicking, nearly in tears. There's the first person I go to is Karl.
And the reason you're panicking is because you're the head of marketing. So it's not. Sabrina doesn't. Oh, she's still down as Brandon again. Sabrina doesn't panic because she just sees these things. She panics because she's responsible for these things.
So marketing chief person. Yeah, that's me. Now that's it. Now I'm going to be getting people come to me. Cheers. Thanks, Karl. But why do we go to you for our IT issues, Karl? Aren't you the?
I'm the chief technology officer, so I'm responsible for whatever is within our tech stack. However, Meetup is not within our tech stack. And maybe the next time we do it a different way. I think we've got a lot of experience now of things that we don't control dying. I mean, I was particularly enamored with last night with LinkedIn diving and going out of service for I don't know how long, half an hour.
That was around about 7. I know it's 7 p.m. because after I had my event, the obviously the first thing I did was say thank you very much for Cynthia, and it just kept bouncing back. And to be honest, because I live out in the middle of nowhere, the same as you, I just thought, as my internet's just gone. That's it. Lost the Wi-Fi.
No, I went on to the desktop and then saw the every time I clicked to send something, it gave me another certificate. So I got about 50 of them. Determined I'm going to make it work. Do
I get a gold? Do I get a gold one next?
My IP will get banned after a denial of service attack trying to get on.
No, you're more like, who collects coins anymore? I'm going to collect certificates.
Well, maybe they'll be worth something one day. When LinkedIn runs the planet.
That's possible. That is possible. But yeah, so we're a lot calmer now. It's all fixed. It's there. So when you click on the link, please sign up. There's lots of spaces there to go. Come and join us. We can fit over 600 people there. It's obviously on lots of different platforms. So just come and join us.
It's now on the front page of the website. So there's actually 2 events on the front page of the website now. There's the one on the 28th and the one on the 7th.
Yes.
And the one on the 7th is, where do we go from here? That's it. I've had that in my head. So I've actually been on to YouTube watching the Buffy song. Yeah, it's really.
Hang on a minute. Buffy's this. It's like
no, that's near the end of the fight sequence. So yeah,
Buffy the Vampire.
Buffy the Vampire. So they did one show called Once More with Feeling that was a musical. And I've got it on disc somewhere around.
That's why I haven't seen it.
In my library office, it's in here somewhere.
Me and my mum used to watch Buffy the Vampire, and when the opening sequence came on, we both would look at each other, and that was it. It's the head banging, shaking.
So I think maybe you should reclassify that as Buffy the Vampire Slayer, because anyone who doesn't know who she was will just go, why would you watch a program about a vampire called Buffy?
No, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She slayed vampires very much.
She was a teenager who destroyed all the evil that was around.
It's everything we wanted to be. You know, we all wanted to go back to our school in the middle of the night and then just kick the living life out of vampires. You know, and then Twilight came out, and apparently vampires are good looking and pretty boys, you know? Nah.
Well, I think the whole vampire thing has been evolved over the years. I mean, it's the all of the things about, you know, not going out in the day and all that sort of stuff has actually been added, because
Yeah.
vampires, because it goes back to Vlad the. I've actually been to his castle, Vlad the Impaler, in Romania. I didn't go up to his castle because it's been bought by some sort of theme park company, but
Done
I've
specifically.
been to the village that has reduced population for some reason. Um,
No, you tell me. I was just about to go, well, that'd be interesting.
well,
Nah.
Vlad the Impaler was a real person, so Count Dracula was the book, but the Vlad the Impaler was a real person, and he did actually go around murdering people. So
Hang a minute. How on earth did we go from Panic, Meetup, Buffy the Vampire?
because I was saying once more with feeling, and where do we go from here? So where do we go from here is there's an event on the 7th of March, which people may notice that's not in February. So we kind of broken our golden rules,
Yeah.
but
Can't help
frankly, we're all a bit tired. So 7th of March, there's an event to kind of have the discussion with the community, because although there's a central team here, you know, we don't really speak for everyone. Sorry, it's true,
We
Sabrina, in
don't
case you
think we
didn't
do.
know.
We don't. No, no, we know. I'm the same as you, Karl.
So we want, you know, is there something that comes next? And I think that, you know, there's certainly value in this, because getting together all these different ideas and different flavors of agile has, I think, been very healthy. I've certainly come across and learned things that before I would have had a real effort to try and find out, because I'm not really a follower of fashion, although I've spoken about agile fashion management.
I agree with you. Not really a follower, are you?
No, I'm not a follower. I'm interested in, you know, with agile, it's more about what I've learned from doing it, rather than reading 50 books on case studies and going, wow, that sounds like an awful experience. I actually have awful experiences of my own. So and I try not to do the same project twice. So I'm
Well,
really
I
not
can
not
imagine.
not the cannon fodder for the big consultancies, because they want to do the same project over and over again and get paid each time.
Isn't it wrong that I've got this imagination now of you as a goth with long black hair and a long black trench coat and guy liner?
So when I was 19, I wasn't a goth. I was a precursor of the goths. So, but I was into military uniforms. I used to buy them from Flip in Covent Garden. And these were the real military uniforms. So I bought the long coat, the trench coat, the Russian
Yeah.
front trench coat. I also got a Hussar's jacket, a real one, and I really liked. I got U.S. Army sergeant's jacket, and I went out to a pub somewhere wearing that with pegs, you know, the six pleats
Yeah.
trousers, and the I think they're called winkle pickers, the pointy shoes.
Yeah.
And I was playing pool, and someone came up to say, "We don't want you army types in here." And I'm going, "You are joking, aren't you? Can't you tell that this is like just fashion?" At which point they kind of left me alone, because they realized they'd made a total idiot out of themselves. But the clothes are really, you know, mixing and matching between like the 1920s look and the military look was kind of interesting.
Style.
But I think that the whole point is, in those days you could make up your own. You
Mhm.
didn't have to follow fashions, and I think people are still doing that now. And I'm one of that group of people that actually, well, I think if I look at how women dress, women choose pieces they like,
Yeah.
and they may follow a fashion, but I think they follow pieces that focus in on bits that they like about themselves, and or things that they're trying to project about themselves. So I probably shouldn't be talking about women's fashion and getting into trouble, aren't I?
We'll get more followers while you get annihilated. So back to what we were originally talking about. So on the 7th of March, you can see the title is what it is in the tin, really. You know, what would you like to happen next? And that's what we need to do. So we are going to be discussing this with Agile20Reflect, but we don't want to discuss this on our own because, yes, we have been doing this journey for quite a number of months now, but you've also joined us in this journey over the past 6 weeks, I would almost say. So we want to hear from your side. So please do join us at this event, 7th of March. We should all be refreshed by then. And it's going to be a really, really good event.
Sleep.
You don't sleep.
Yeah, well, I'll probably go wild and take 4 hours a night instead of 2.
Whoa! I still was shocked when you messaged me at 7 o'clock this morning. 7 o'clock this morning. I was thinking, what? Nah, definitely the evil twin.
Yeah, I'm trying to set up this room where there's more than one of me, but I think if that happens, there'll be a number of official agencies looking for me.
That would be quite interesting, actually. But we would want different personalities, so you can see just slight differences.
Are you saying I'm not split personality enough for this?
Oh no, I quite like it. I find it interesting. We can have like leadership Karl and scrummy Karl, and then sarcastic.
Did you just call me scrummy?
I don't know. Scrum. Don't take that wrong, mate. Just me. Scrum Karl. I don't know, Scrummy Master. Scrum Master. Oh, I don't know. That's what I say. It's my nickname for Scrum.
Okay, I'm feeling very scrummy today.
Let's go to the calendar.
Let's go to the calendar before Sabrina buries or creates too many new determinations for online. New profile lookup for Karl Smithh. Youngish at heart, laughs out loud a lot, is scrummish.
Do you know what? If we had to create a blooper reel, I think I could actually fill it. I could fill it for everything I do. I'm tired. I've got a caveat. Okay. I've been up since 5. Right. So we were having a good perusal through the calendar because there's still events. There's
loads and loads of events still, which is really good because we're still getting them coming in. We have surpassed 800 events, which is so cool. And I know that we shouldn't be focused on the high number. We should be focused on the quality. But yeah, we've got 800 events. So it's astonishing. And you know, I would say we've not done a huge amount of advertising to get those 800 events. What we have done is
my job.
I'm just saying, you know, Marina, maybe not Marina. My brains have it. Sabrina. Sabrina.
Oh, I like that. Barina. Let me just change it.
I'm going to be in trouble now. I'm just saying that we didn't spend much money on advertising until we got events, and then we advertised the events because that's what we're trying to do, is act as a amplification platform for the organizers, not for ourselves. So I think
good. We've not actually spent that much money. That is from our donors as well in advertising. We haven't had to because we've had so many people supporting us and following us and actually sharing, you know, all these events and sharing our posts and chatting on our posts, leaving comments, liking and everything, that actually, you know, it's been great. It's been absolutely amazing.
Yeah, no, we won't steal Brandon's thunder, but there's some amazing data from the engagements that we've got. So that will be coming out in on the 28th in the event then, and the Fiesta.
Arriba. I just keep thinking that.
Well, someone had to do it. I was going to wonder if it was going to be me, but I can't manage that level of cultural appropriation.
Andale, arriba. So there's
okay.
A few
Are you the fastest mouse in all Mexico?
We've not even got it as a Mexican theme.
Speedy Gonzalez. Who not knows who Speedy Gonzalez is?
Of course I know Speedy Gonzalez. I'm not that young, you know.
I didn't want to say.
Maybe a few more months, and you know, I mean, think after the lack of sleep, I mean, that beauty trick, which I'm not doing, but there's a beauty trick where you can put sellotape.
All right, okay.
I'm doing the high ponytail that
I thought you just like
back.
re-moisturize by sticking your face in a bucket or something.
Yeah, or a cold bucket of ice. That is the Swedish thing. Oh, Shelby's calling me. Hang on a minute, 2 seconds. Hi.
Does she know we're like on air?
You're live on Agile World. Are you free in about 30 minutes or 15? Oh, bye.
So it's a big shout out from Shelby. So we'll put her in the description that Shelby called in.
Yes, Shelby dropped in. Cheers, Shelbs.
Maybe we should turn this into a live talk radio show.
You know, I could send her the link.
Call in with your agile questions, or to find out if we're free for a beer afterwards.
I'm not giving up. Yeah, that would be good. Actually, yeah, we should do that. We should do it. What we're going to do when we're out of lockdown and we can actually, I think we should do it in a pub or in a bar. I'm in one bar, you're in the other bar. Bring all our kit.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's there may be singing coming from my bar. I'm not sure why, but it's either that or heavy metal music.
Hey, I've got the moves. I experienced it with Buffy the Vampire. So,
I don't. Right. Okay. So let's talk about this festival that we're still involved with. Okay.
Yes. We're heavily involved. We will always be involved in it. So one, I'm like really excited about because it's Giles. So Giles came onto the show last week. And he's actually hosting a event on the 25th. So it's on tomorrow. I have to look at the date then. 3 to 4 p.m. GMT time. And it is called the Challenges of Genuine Agile. Now,
that should be interesting because I told you the story about my friend who worked in the bank. They never gave her fake money. They only gave her the real thing so that she would feel it all the way through so that when the fake stuff came along, she knew it immediately. So the same with Agile. If you're only focused on the real thing, the minute you see fakery, then you spot it straight away.
I was wondering where you were going with that. I didn't see the link. I was like, what point is it again? Where are we going with this?
Yeah, I have a sack of money from her here.
The bank only gives her real money. I'm thinking,
No, it's just a training thing. So I've got one here that looks really interesting. The how to create an agile mindset and organizational culture for prosperity.
Yes.
That's the interest because you know prosperity doesn't mean just money. Prosperity means wholeness, wellness, and health. So mind, body, and environment. So that's really interesting.
Feels more like a spiritual type because it is. We talk about it, and I spoke about this last night about it's around about your behavior. It's you will hear it all. It's our new thing that we all say, but we say it because we believe it. You know, doing agile is one thing. Being agile is another thing, and it's just that. And we do embody being agile. Yeah.
So I think prosperity is a good word for agile. So that's a nice one. And then there's managing complexity and agility. Because I think there's people just assume that agile can subsume everything, but there are so many complexities that actually still need to be managed. And this is in some ways why waterfall still exists. Because if there weren't such major complexities, then probably everyone would just adopt agile. As a way of working across the board, but actually there's so many things in organizations that are so complex and have such pre-described time frameworks and time boxing that you can't bring them straight into agile. You actually need to change. You need to change how the Bank of England works. You need to change how HMRC works. You need to change all of these other external factors before you can actually really change those complexities.
And that's where you can get some people that are quite naive when they say that we're going to work in an agile way. And they assume that, we can just work in an agile way as a team or as a department and not think of the other areas because it does make a change. You do impact, not in a bad way, but you do impact. So you have to think of the area. It's like you never hear about, so you always hear about development teams working in agile, but you never, you don't think about, well, that links up to finance still. Nobody ever thinks of finance, but actually development teams are affecting finance because how are they supposed to forecast? And then HR.
Yeah.
So then they make that change, then HR have to understand it. And I remember I was I won't say the names of the businesses, but I was in one place where HR heard we were working in an agile way, and two rightly so, they turned around and said, well, we need to understand this, because if something comes up and they turn around and say, I was in this meeting and this happened as an example, what is this meeting? And so even understanding it, and they only wanted an understanding. And I turned around and said, well, actually, you don't just need to have an understanding. It might actually benefit your way of working, doing it in a similar way as well, and throughput. And people don't quite always understand the ripple effect it can have. And 9 times out of 10, where we will meet people day-to-day basis where they're against Agile because they've had a bad experience. And this can actually be one of the reasons why they've had a bad experience.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I think Agile HR is actually, there's been quite a lot of sessions about it in the festival, because it's certainly in a very emergent area and really, really critical for the people that have been doing Agile transformations. HR, for the most part, has tried to stop the transformations because Agile, in its barest sense, breaches governance. To actually work in an agile way is counter to the policies that governance has created around how people are understood and how people are valued.
Which
and
another ripple.
It's a huge, I would say it's a crashing wave onto HR, because HR goes, well, wait a minute, you're taking away formal management structures and people are now self-allocating their work. How do we know that they are being effective?
But we don't want anything we're saying to put you off on a transformation.
Oh no, it's these are the common questions once you dig into it. I mean, I've worked with some amazing HR business partners who've gone like, yeah, when you get down to it, this is Agile is at its core a function of Agile, a function of how HR wants to work, but because of years of subsuming HR functions into complex organizational structures, we can't really do this stuff, but Agile actually affords us a way to do it.
Do you know, this conversation just reminded me of something. There was a recruiter I used to speak to quite regularly about certain work for me, or if there's any, there was jobs that I wasn't available for, could I recommend anything? And I used to have a conversation with him to double check if he actually understood some of these jobs. And I actually said to him as a laugh, I said, do you know what? You're recruiting a lot of these Scrum Masters. Do you know what would actually benefit you is actually take a Scrum Master course.
Yeah.
And he did. And actually what he ended up doing was, not only did he take a Scrum Master course, which meant he understood the role so much better, he decided to start moving an Agile framework into recruitment within his department and within his teams. And instead of us talking to each other on like a business sense, where you used to ring me up and go, are you available for this? Or what do you think of this, Sabrina? It turned into a regular call where we'd be going, I'm implementing this. What do you think? And then it came to like an advisory thing going, oh, I've tried to do this and it's not working. Or what do you think? And it was a recruiter. And do you know, it works in recruitment. He actually said it made such a difference to him and his colleagues' workflow. I can't say his name on here. I can't say the company.
Oh, that's the essential thing. There are so many complexities around how people work that are impositions and things you must do. And what Agile does is it doesn't remove them. What it does is it pushes them back to frameworks and guide rails. So, a lot of business prescribes how to get there. What Agile says is just get there. Now, we have professional standards and professional ways of behaving to get there, so that we don't steamroller our colleagues and we're not horrible to each other and use underhanded methodologies to get there. But actually, for everything that needs to be done, there's hundreds of solutions. There's not just one.
Do you know what else I love about Agile20Reflect is the fact is we are just going through the calendar and it's creating this conversation. And that's just with us. It's creating conversation everywhere with everybody else. That's how amazing these actual events are. We got one here as well, which is what is your Agile story? That I believe has been replayed a couple of times. I'm trying to
Yeah, it
remember.
has.
But it's been replayed because it's that good. There's quite a few events. I mean, yesterday we mentioned to Yusuf, have you guys booked in another red team event yet? We won another
It's not been booked yet. I think one of the red team's not well, and you should probably give him a call.
Oh, okay. I will. Emotional intelligence in leadership and agility. That's another one. That is a really good one. This one's been replayed as well because it's so good. And do you know, it's a nice feeling to see some of these being replayed because it shows how popular they are. And then, of course, our favorites. Are we allowed to have favorites or not? Obviously, they're on the show quite often. She rang us just now. We got Shelby and Safpal. The communities, something to give, something to gain. And you know that's going to be an amazing event, especially between the two of those.
Yeah, I think I would like to attend, but unfortunately I'm busy at that time.
Why are you busy, Karl? Are you leading into something?
Yeah, so I'm hosting an event that's looking at the whole human side of Agile, which for the most part has been forgotten. I think it's come up like 5,000 times during this festival that the human side is essential. But before the festival started, I got into Agile through user experience and through the human side of living and working. And so I just look at Agile and go, well, that's great. We can make things faster. We can make things, sorry, I'll tone that down. We can make things appear faster. We can give people a better sense of trajectories and better transparency. But in doing so, we will completely destroy them, their sense of values and their safety. But actually we don't have to. And so this is a session on the 25th that's starting at 6 with Dr. Gail Ferrara, I'm terrible with names, and Dr. Stephanie Puckett, looking into new ways of working the human component. And the manifesto mentions the human component, but people focus in on the technical change.
Yeah. It's like an emotional roller coaster, this.
Yeah.
But there's just so much more. So take a look into the calendar because we still have lots more events. It is not over yet. Not until, what is it? The I can't say it now. Thingy lady sings, but it's not over
until the well-constituted, fabulous singer lady sings.
Yep, that's how it goes. Well, thank you very much. I shall catch you later, Karl.
Yep. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.